Okay, so real quick, tomorrow, here's that meet link. I like doing this on days of quiz. It's perfect. I said it. I know I keep repeating myself, and I do a lot, but my cat classes are perfectly designed for Compass. Got Compass, and I have 4th, 5th, and 7th cat. So on days that we have tests, I'm going to use this meet link more and more. And I think like 4 people hit it last time. So I wish it was more, all right, to get ready for that quiz, especially with how many people didn't do that well. You have to make an attempt to improve yourself. But whatever, just leave it, leave it as it is. So I'll be there for you. And then I just ask, for your respect and your other Compass classes to have earbuds so they don't have to hear my ugly voice in their class. I don't want to be disrupting other classes. And you don't have to speak, but I'll ask hey, does anyone in the chat want to see a particular number? Then type in 35 or something like that, and then I could do that. And that it worked out perfectly. So just be aware of that. Now, I have you back in because I'm going to cover this part. Not that. Don't look at that. Don't look at that. Don't look at that. Okay, this. Okay, and here is what I mean about this should be quick. And you should be done. I'm sorry. You should be. Because the expectation of this is a square root. Oh, but I have a negative on the outside, so it's a square root going down. All right, and I did want to do domain and range because, I'll show you when I go over the quiz. I'll have to get you out of the room when we do that. But if I ask what's the domain of this and what's the range, you should not be using your graphing calculator. You should graph this in a millisecond, or the 5 seconds that I tell you it should take you, or 10, and then analyze. So I plug in 2, I get 3. Input, output. I plug in 3, and I get square root of 1 negative plus 3, 2. So it goes down like this. That's the reflection over the x-axis. All right, so right 2, 3 up. That's why I should know that that's where that starts. That does have a very specific domain and range. I don't know how else I can cover this for domain and range. I can only start by plugging in 2 and bigger. That's domain. Output is 3 and below, but you gotta name it like that. Negative infinity to 3. Yes, for sure. We are going to do this in chapter 2 at the end, towards the end. But I still think this belongs in our family of functions, and I feel like I've talked about vertical and horizontal asymptotes almost every single day for 10 straight days. So at some point it's going to sink in for everybody, most of you are there, that there's a vertical asymptote now at x equals negative 2. There's a horizontal asymptote down 3, y equals negative 3. And then it is the classic 1 over x graph controlled by those asymptotes. That does affect the domain and range. So we definitely got that going on. I got my mathlete shirt on. We got a math contest today. All right, domain and range for number 3 is all real numbers. That's why I didn't write it. Not everything has restrictions. And yes, we should know a cube function is this flula. All right, and it's 1 left and 2 up for that little curvature point right there. Right, that's the important point for this. Where's that little thing? And 3, I asked for 3 discernible points tomorrow. By the way, there's 3 of these on tomorrow's test, and it's at the beginning of the written without a graphing calculator. And again, this should not take a long time. So all about knowing and getting comfortable with the 5 or 6 that I identified that I started off with class. Vertical asymptote, x equals 0, y equals 3. Flipped over the x-axis. That's why these curves are down and up here, flipped over the x-axis. Okay, next 2. Dang tootin', you should know 5 is a v immediately. Ooh, that rhymed. 1 left, 1 up. All right, and that's where the V starts. That's why it's bang, bang. All right, and most of you are good. Some of you still have no idea. I was getting just the craziest pictures in the world because we can't input output. But you just look at the level where we're at here. We need to know that it's a V, and we should at least attempt a V on this. Some people are getting me something that's not even close to a V. All right, and then same thing with this, knowing that's a quadratic. And then I'll talk more about that when I go to the quiz, why we shouldn't be touching our graphing calculator. Why, when you run out of time on my test, it's actually on you, and that's why there is no extra time. You need to use your time wisely and know that some things don't require a calculator. Then look at the V in number 8. You definitely got to shrunk vertically with that 1/3. 1/3 is really a slope there. But input, say it. Output, I plug in 0, I get -3. I plug in smart number would be 3. That's a value 3 times a third is 1. 1 minus 3 is -2. So 3 comma -2, there's that. And then same thing with -3, you get the same output value. That's why it's a V. Right? Many of you are there, and you'll rejoice at those 3 easy questions that start the written. All right? And that shouldn't be a problem. Do you like doing the domain and range on this one again? We'll talk more about that when we look at the quiz. Okay, I need you out now because I'm going to go over the quiz. Sorry. Okay, now flip the script and go to that quiz real quick.